Shield unbound, my pride will waver not. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. And if I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. But war is cruel, my comrades die, and I go on alone. I will not stop to ask them why. I know I can't go home. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. And if I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. My back is broke, my armor's rent, my blood is on the field. My sword is gone, my body spent, I lie upon my shield. I faced my foe, they laid me low, but I go with a smile. The labyrinth, it calls to...
So, we are here. Hello everyone, welcome to someone who knows how to do an intro for their own stream that they've been doing for 4 years and still doesn't know how to do things properly. Bloody Twitch, what's going wrong with it? I hope you can all hear me okay. The audio should be fine. I've tried to leave it alone. But we are here this evening to do just turning my phone off. Yeah, mute your phones as well. We're gonna do a Q&A. And yes, I am wearing a Christmas jumper. It's only good so far. Thank you, Hewitt. I'm hoping... Oh, I'll do a bit of a test, actually. Let's see if it gets rid of it. No, it hasn't. It has! Right. I'm reading questions off of my phone. This is a cracking start. But this is fine. So, we're going to do a Q&A for Menhirs Fate because... took 3 minutes... I stole Nick, yes. It took 3 minutes for you to connect. Yeah, Twitch is... Who knows? Who knows what's going on with Twitch at the moment? Questions from Menhirs Fate. Google Docs. I am prepared. So, this is good. So, the Q&A that went on last time was insane. It was really busy. It had... a lot of people in there. Had a lot of Hat Films people in there as well. So the questions were just going to be... It was all going to get steamrolled. But I'm pretty sure they managed to answer 5.
It was more than 5.
4. That's my final offer. So I have 58. And my plan is to speedrun it. We're going to do this. I'm not going to read a question now, obviously. But thankfully, we have got the wonderful Nick and the even more wonderful Persephone. The more glamorous, I should say. The more glamorous Persephone with us this evening. The Warhammer stream was sketchy too. Great, so Twitch is buggered up for everybody then, by the sounds of things. So I'm grateful for you two willing to come and join me this evening. It's been a long week for everyone, by the sounds and things, for one reason or another. If you know, you know. That's all I will say. Bets on how many questions that actually get asked. Yeah, I'll take bets on that. I've got 58. Whoever gets it right, I'll buy a beer. We'll do that. So yeah, start guessing now. How are you two doing this evening anyway? Are you fine? Are you good? Not too cold?
Definitely start.
Nick. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Bit of a long week, but yeah, it's been good. There's been a lot of cool stuff being done, and it's going to be a fun weekend.
Yes. Positive attitude. I like that. How are you doing, Nick?
Yeah, good. A lot of like stressful things going on. Outside of Menhirs Fate, so just kind of trying to help people out and pay back some kindness that was done to me. So yeah, and literally just come back from that.
That's all good.
Straight into the stream.
Yes. Well, technically, straight off to have a wee. So, if we're including the how are yous, 15. No, we're not including those, but 15's a good answer. Okay. Are we ready for this? Excellent.
Yeah.
That's what. That's what I like to hear. Okay. So, first question. It's a long one, so I apologise for butchering this question. I'm not going to read out who sent the question either, because I'm not that nice. So, Mage Armour. Will this be added to the game, or is light armour the equivalent armour class in the setting? Some of us are in nations that seem to have a very knight in metal armour look and feel to them. For example, Valdreath. In some other LARP systems, there are ways to emulate that kind of look as a mage with metal accessories, decorative, ornate circlets or belts, for example, which give some protection to mages, but aren't classified as light, medium, heavy armour. Since light armour in the system currently only allows for padded cloth or leather, I was wondering if there were any plans to implement a mage-specific category for these kinds of adornments.
So I think we need to specialize or kind of highlight the fact that light armor is including mage armor. And I think you can get away with that. So if you are a mage and wearing light armor, you can, look in a particular way. As long as you don't look like it's medium armor and you don't look like it's heavy, we're cool with it. It's more about your character looking cool and you feeling confident within your character is our concern over anything else. Obviously, just the difference in light, medium, and heavy, we want to make sure is obvious, especially if you're medium or heavy armored, so people know what your kind of like immunities and things are and stuff like that. So if an archer goes to shoot someone, he'll not look at someone in light armor or mage armor and shoot them with an arrow, or choose not to shoot them with an arrow because they look like they were heavy.
Okie dokie.
You want to make sure that you look like you in your segmented parts. But yeah, I think we just need to do a better explanation that light armor does incorporate mage armor, and you can play around with that a bit more. But Kiddy is working really hard on our look and feel right now, which should hopefully be out maybe even as soon as next week. Which will have more of like a detailed look about all the individual costumes and designs for each of the nations and how armor can kind of incorporate into that. So people don't feel like if they're in a nation like Valdreath or Cyridonia, they have to wear heavy armor. You don't. There's so many other things that you can do with your characters and character looks that don't include, heavy armor.
Yeah. Okay. Anything to add, Persephone?
No, I think Nick's covered it. Look and feel will be out soon, and that will hopefully expand on what we've got in the rules. And more generally with stuff like that, if people are confused about that, we are going to be continuously looking at these rules up until release and over the first year. And if there's stuff that just isn't clear on that sort of front, we will update that. Like, it's not going to be an instant process, but it's something that we are very aware. Not everyone's a mind reader. Not everyone is going to have seen the influences that have generated like these rules. So there's going to be a little bit of an interpretation gap. Once people either get over that or like filter back to us that they aren't understanding a certain thing, we can make it a bit clearer.
Wonderful. Okay, question 2. What steps are you taking that other LARPs haven't done so far to make Menhirs Fate more accessible for disabled and neurodivergent people? The fantasy genre has always trod a fine line when coming to cultural appropriation versus appreciation. What steps are you taking to make sure all feel respected at your game? And will you have a cultural sensitivity team working with writers and designers of Menhirs Fate? Are you planning to have discounted tickets for concessions or lower income households? Fun one. Sorry for the hard hitting stuff. What nation or guild are you personally most excited to see players get stuck into? There's a lot there. It's only registered it as one question there, but that's great.
Yeah, it's multiple questions, but I'll try and answer like the important one first, which is equality, diversity, and making sure everyone feels looked after and what we're doing different. The thing we're doing different is we're going to have a mental health team on site the entire time they're playing the event. We care very much for people's mental health. And there's a lot of people with different spiciness that we want to make sure feel safe and have areas so they can like chill out, have a time, or just have someone to potentially talk to if they need someone to talk to, or just a place to regain some spoons. I think that's really important. I think that's something that we're doing that is different from everyone else at the moment. It comes to equality and diversity, we do have some people working on that part of the team as we're writing, and we're always checking everything. Every writer note, we have a list of things that people have to cover when they're writing, and one is, have you thought about the equality and diversity stuff? Have you checked on this? And then we have someone who, outside of that writer, checks on it afterwards as well. But also, it's a massive part of the writing process of what we are designing for this game. A lot of people are affected by, and I can't think of the word right now. When you go in as an empire and you take over other people's countries, we did it quite a lot.
Yeah, colonialism.
That's the one. So we're making sure that we don't have any of that in the game.
Yes.
There are written bits in the game that haven't come out yet. Essentially, there's a signed agreement by all the different nations that they will only take back territory that belongs to them.
Okay.
So there's no discussion between other people about, we've taken back this territory back. Who is it up for? Who's grabbing it now? There's no discussion there. It is, did you own it before? If yes, you take it back. No matter what army or what group of people go in and save that location, it goes back to the original people. And it's also the reason why the enemy is an internal force. It's a severe, with magic and kind of faith, spiritual war.
Yeah.
It's an internal conflict. So we're actually not taking away from an enemy force that's from outside. They're also not doing that. It's a civil war.
Yeah.
That's essentially going on. But one side is blatantly evil. And the other side is the players, which will be a variety of hopefully good, and then up to, all the different areas that people like to play their game. And people can try and take their territory back doing it the Goody Two Shoes way. Like the wholesome option is available and is achievable. The good guy way is also, might not be 100% wholesome, is also achievable. The bad guy option is also optional and achievable. It's up to what the player base decides to do to complete the objective to get their territories back. It's up to them.
Excellent.
Or fail doing it.
Yeah.
But with that also includes the fact of, there's a lot of people's cultures and societies that we're usually not aware of, as we're all white people, is that, a lot of people have been negatively affected by colonialism in their real life, or have their ancestors have been hit negatively by that.
Yeah.
So, it actually allows more people to get involved in a game because it's not actively potentially triggering them.
Yes.
As well as the fact of we're having it that the game is everyone plays humans. So we're not having races as a playable choice, even though we all have different species of things or creatures in the game. But we will have a variety of different, using the Empire terminology, lineages. Different kind of people have been magically affected. We haven't released yet. That makes you look different, but you are still human. But you can have loads of things that so people can do amazing costume design. Do really cool special effects and things on their character and really show off what they have. That's just another area of the game that people love to explore and people are amazing at.
Yeah. Okay, so if we go to the other bits then with Persephone, so discounted tickets for concessions, lower income households. How about that?
So I believe that one has been discussed. I think it's still in discussion with how we're arranging our ticket prices. The set we've got out at the moment includes some concessions. Income concessions, I think, is one that's still being discussed, but I'm not 100% sure where we've landed on that at this point.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I think that the answer is yes, but for some reason it didn't get written, like it accidentally not copy and pasted correctly. So I have to check on that to make sure that nothing's actually changed. But disability concessions we're doing, as well as other concessions. We've got a variety of different concessions we're doing that is a cheaper price.
Okay, that's cool. So what nation or guild are you both personally most excited to see the players get stuck into?
You first, Persephone.
It's going to be Ceradonia, but that's because I wrote them. So it's always going to be that one. That's the one I'm very keen to see take the field.
Excellent.
I think for how the game works, I think the Bankers Guild is going to be really interesting. Hopefully make everything a lot easier for everyone to kind of access the game, not have to wait for so long to kind of process things and have it as an in-character experience instead of an out-of-character experience.
Yeah.
So you can have more time in the game. So I'm really excited for that and seeing hopefully people realize how it works and then go, oh yeah, I like this. But actually, I think I just really like the Adventurers Guild and the normal guilds. I think there's just something really just kind of wholesome about that I just can't wait to see people kind of line up and get paid to go out and do quests and things. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
Okay, that's cool. Well, you're both wrong. It was the correct answer was actually Morvalis. So never mind. Will there be ways for less mobile players to still get involved and feel like important characters? Also, how will you make sure the desire of some players to be more questionable characters doesn't spoil the fun of those who want to play the good heroes without threat or harm or loss to their character? Will that be possible in this world, or much? Will that be possible in this world, or must all the characters be prepared to defend themselves at all times and accept that being anyone worth noticing will automatically put a target on your back?
The first of all, this is like a massively PvE game. This player versus the environment. Everyone's got each other's back, and we've got a variety of ways that make sure that everyone who doesn't want to get involved in combat can do so and continue to play the game safely. There will be more element of risk than in other events that people are used to, but there's also this invisible amount of referees and people in the background making sure that we're trying to lessen that burden, which is hard to kind of say, trust us on it. But I think we'll have a way that we can explain how that system works and how that's being essentially like processed, as well as like the different rules we have for that area as well. So this game is massively about exploration and discovery. So there's loads of encounters that we have outside of Haven. that are not combat at all. There's zero combat in it. So we even have a dungeon area, which is designed for everyone to be able to kind of move around in safely. And and be able to take their time because there's no combat, there's no need to rush. But in those dungeon areas, there's massive amounts of exploration and trying to discover, ancient artifacts, bits of maps, and bits of history and text and kind of fluff and lore of the game that are to be celebrated when they're found because it's massively important to the game. If someone finds something like a map of a territory that is owned by someone else, so they know who owns it, which is a massive part of the game. I think that's going to end up being, I think it's 80% something that Persephone came up with, is they'll then be highlighted on the wiki. This area was discovered by the scholar. Insert name here. If you'd like to find out more about it, go talk to them.
Okay.
Or something like that. So it's kind of highlighting the important people in the game that aren't just bopping people. Which is also really fun, but it's not for everyone.
No.
Obviously, rituals, massive part of the game. The enchanting and apothecary system is really different, I think, and interesting from other systems. People get really sunk into, and also have a large amount of powerful NPCs that can take you on quests and also take you and give the opportunity to get boons by negotiating with them, which will be in haven, so you don't even have to leave for those things to happen. Which can include, aspects of gods coming down, having conversations with people, powerful creatures like vampires, and other things where you can negotiate with, or they can, and they will be looking for particular types of people that they don't think is usually gets that much engagement out of a game, and pick you up and take you to somewhere else that is going to be a safe place for you to engage in roleplay in a level that they think is also good for you as well.
Okay, that's good.
Because
Sorry, go on.
Because everything is all big fighty stuff. A lot of it is, for example, we've got like these creatures of Fae who will be from Fable, who will be coming in, and they'll be specifically looking for either brand new players, brand new larpers, or people whose story hasn't begun yet. Or people that are usually a bit, kind of suffer from being a bit nervous or shy, and aim to engage with those people and completely ignore everyone that is, a big loud character, and then they might just take them over to have like a nice meal or sit down with a Fey king and queen and sit down in a court and have a lovely game area of that. Involves no combat. There's no high risks to it, but there are, rewards to be gained by kind of interacting with the scene.
Good. That's good. Hey, CJ. That would be nice. I'm always looking for plot to get into, ways for plot to get into. Yeah, that's really, really good. So for Persephone, we'll go to the next part of it. So I'm trying to disassemble the paragraph. How will you make sure the desire of some players to be more questionable characters don't spoil the fun of those who want to play good heroes without threat or harm or loss to their character? Will this be possible in this world? Or must the characters be prepared to defend themselves at all times and accept that being anyone worth noticing will automatically put a target on your back?
I mean, it shouldn't, by the nature of the PV design and the sort of general tone of the game, which will be explained a little bit more over time and as people get into it and start playing it, versus like other games that they understand have a different sort of feel to them. I think there might be some like contentious arguments between people as they disagree on like how the best way to go about a particular goal is, but we aren't aiming for people to be developing like spending 90% of their game in some sort of like social PvP setting, or particularly fighting each other.
Like
there
Conclave.
might, yeah, I mean, we're not aiming to build that game. Like there's going to be some element of threat in Haven from like the camp attacks that we're doing, but the way we've set up how we're intending to run camp attacks is that they'll be delivered to a specific area that shouldn't interrupt people who don't want to be involved in that side of the game accessing their game. And they're going to be run for the people who do want to defend their camp and be the hero and whatever, but in a way that shouldn't interrupt the people who don't want that to be their game and instead want to engage with all the stuff that Nick's talked about around the plot, like those different plots that are going to be run, and like the guild systems and all that sort of stuff, and solving those puzzles and doing that exploration. But they shouldn't have to fight their way, get their friends to fight through like a horde of people between their camp and like the guild tents to do so.
Awesome. That's really cool. And believe me, camp attacks will come up again. I've glanced through this. There's a lot of questions about camp attacks. So
I thought it might.
So, okay. From what I've gathered, that makes no sense. From what I've gathered from the information so far, there's a lot of chances to be a hero, a thief, a rapscallion, a paladin type, and a mage. Could I please ask if there's anything planned for the diplomacy lovers amongst us? Now, I understand there's less of a focus on social PvP, and completely understand if you can't negotiate. If you can't negotiate with the monsters. Just thought I'd ask.
Yes, you can negotiate with the monsters. So when I say monsters, the NPCs. So yeah, there are stuff for negotiators to do. Absolutely, 100%. So going on like the main campaign first, and we'll go down to the smaller, let's say smaller stuff, not main campaign stuff. Main campaign is you're taking over land that was previously yours that got hit by people that are corrupted and essentially have had something happen to their minds, or they had to come to an agreement under force by the enemy. And once you take that back, you need to help those people come to terms with things and come back into the fold. They want to. They want their help, but that's going to take time and negotiation to do that. At which point there was places for people to do diplomacy, and for clerics and paladins to come in and use their faith to help cleanse an area and heal people's corruption that they have within them or from an area. And then there's also things like, as I've described before, the big powerful creatures coming in. They are to be negotiated with, and if you negotiate with them well, you get power or agreements, or different things can happen to you with those negotiations with those NPCs. But also, there's grander things at hand apart from personal stuff, which is these creatures are coming from the different spheres of magic, and the different spheres of magic have their own wants. There's their own like civilizations behind them. They all have their own wants and needs, and those spheres of magic don't interact with other spheres of magic. So if they want to make an agreement or have a problem with another sphere of magic that they're not connected to, then it's down to the player base to solicitate that.
Yeah.
If it is in trade or otherwise, it has to go through the player base or the world. But so there's loads to do for the diplomats and the people that like having a chat and winning or losing. We're not going to make it easy for
them. No, of course not. Of course not. I do remember our very character-specific conversation in the pub about what my character goal is, and we've been talking away literally over what you have just said. And I look forward to just being a dick, which the game's going to facilitate, and it's going to be good. It's going to be great fun. So, So this is actually this seems very tailored towards Persephone. This one. So
Super.
2 questions.
Cool.
Could I please ask if there is any sort of timeline or roadmap on when nation briefs might be released? We're talking about the actual topics, not underwear.
Is that for like wider nation briefs or for like the kit briefs?
Question 2. Could I please ask if there are restrictions intended for costuming, such as Empire's not acceptable list, if modern fabrics would be allowed, or how high fantasy we should be thinking? So technically, both, I guess.
Cool. So in terms of kit briefs, they are, I think, within the next sort of week or so. Might be a little bit longer, might be a little bit shorter, dependent on. They are very close to finish. I've seen them in the last couple of days while looking at them on the wiki. Like there's a little bit more fleshing out. There's a little bit more of other stuff to do. I believe that there is a look and feel overview as well, like a page that will have some more detail on, I think, that sort of stuff around stuff that's not appropriate, stuff that like we're aiming for, like with the general art direction of the game. We've been aiming for high fantasy as a very broad thing across the whole thing, but it is slightly different from that. I know we had a meeting very, very early on in the process to define that, and now I can't remember what it was that we said for it. But I know that a lot of inspiration has come from the more sort of video game side of things, with a lot of very good high fantasy video games coming out in the last couple of years, and across other sort of areas of fantasy that have been drawn from as inspiration. Because it's very visual and it's cool stuff that's going out. So they've sparked some really good ideas. In terms of wider nation briefs, the answer is yes, but I can't give you a roadmap on those. We are planning to write more. More has already been written, but there isn't a particular roadmap at this time for when we're expecting to release some of that information. But we are expecting to release more information for the nations before the first event, so that people will have more to build on and more to build their characters and their groups around. I think naming conventions will also be coming very, very, very soon. I think they've been written. I probably will be in the next, probably sometime similar to where we've planning to release the look and feels and some other bits of information.
Sorry, Nick.
So, mostly everything has been written. It's just kind of making sure it goes through and, it's spell checked and grammar checked and all that sort of stuff. And also, like we said before, making sure that it's equality and diversity checked as well. Because, there might be something in there that we haven't realised. So I want to make sure we get a good amount of people from a varying amount of backgrounds to kind of give it a look over. To make sure that we're getting it right before we release it to the public, and someone goes, "I can't believe you've done this." I'm like, "Oh, we did not realise at all," and I don't look silly. So it's more kind of checking things over, make sure it's all good. Then it's the whole thing of, which is mostly Persephone's job at the moment, it's kind of like inputting that onto the wiki, which is a whole process, and taking it from like from the document stage to putting it over onto the wiki and formatting it, and then if we need art for that. And we also want to make sure that we get our art in time, or the right pictures up, and pressing the enter button. It takes a little bit longer times. Even though we've got a lot that's ready to be released right now, we need to make sure we're getting it right, ready for release, instead of just lobbing it out and hoping for the best.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So Monty has put a thing there. So I've immediately done the thing I said I wasn't going to do, which is read a question from chat. More importantly, allowing a kit brief to be affordable, because I know we've had a few chats about it. Because my big anxiety when it comes to making kit is, it's going to be bad anyway because I have no talent for it. But I have no money, and so making stuff that's affordable would be wonderful. So is it going to be, is part of the kit brief that Kitty's doing, is it going to be a sort of, this is amazing, you can also do this and this and this as well?
I think there's going to be a couple of different options for things in terms of what you can do, but we're also going to be looking at the kit briefs from the view of them being aspirational stuff over time. We are not expecting everyone to turn up first event with a brand new outfit that they've clawed out of nowhere the week before that's perfect on brief thing that they've got online. It's not realistic, and it's also not fair. Like, we want people to be invested in the game, but we don't want them to be thinking that they can't turn up, see what the game's like, find what they enjoy, come along with kit that is the stuff that they can make and afford, and then over time, if they want to improve that, great. That's going to be just the way that it's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
That's
and also
yeah.
I've got multiple friends who work in making their own kit. For movies, for LARP, or like Elle, for example, she makes kit for movies, and I've got to stand next to that person. So if you can calm those people down, that'd be great, because then I can not look so bad in comparison.
That is so true. Scott has said first event in my pants confirmed.
No.
So the next one, is there a plan to prevent crunch? Working overtime at short notice, especially for your plot writers, editors between events. It's clearly been an issue for another LARP this year that affects both crew and players negatively. And from what we've seen, heard, there's an aim for a lot more spread out plot for Menhirs Fate.
That's a really good question. I've actually been so I've had to go back, and we actually reassess things. We kind of put things into phases. So we're just coming to the end of what we are describing as phase 1, and we're about to go into phase 2. So what we've done is we've really looked at everything we've done really well so far, and the things that we also think we could do better. What's our strengths and our weaknesses. One for myself would definitely be I've been working too much. So I just need to kind of set myself better goals to not get that crunch on myself. No one's telling me to do the stuff. I'm just doing it myself. So no one's forcing me to work more than more than I need to. But yeah, it's just kind of realizing that and working hard to implement it. So that's something we're doing on phase 2. We're onboarding soon all of the amazing people that have asked to be part of our volunteer team. So we'll be onboarding them, and we'll also be getting them to, if they want to, kind of help out on different areas of the development side of the game. Just kind of help kind of like lessen the load and have more like a team structure there as well, just to try and help with that burden. Because we've I've affected myself with the crunch, so I need to go right. I need to look after myself a bit better, and also make sure that everyone else is doing the same.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's going to be an ongoing problem that we're going to encounter. The way we've got our events structured in terms of over the year, hopefully will mitigate some of that issue, as are a little bit more or a little bit spread out. So there's a bit of potentially a bit more time there. I think it's going to be something that we figure out in the first year. Potentially, it's very hard to know how much crunch we're going to get hit with. But if we are hit with it, it's going to be something that we're going to look into and make sure that our crew aren't having to deal with that. If that mistake does happen, then we'll address it for the next event.
Okay, that's really good. It is lovely to hear that the crew are like top of the. Well, they've been thought of, basically. That's lovely to hear.
Well, they're important. Like, the game won't work without them. So we've got to look after
right.
them. No, yeah. Well, there's also you.
I know.
But there's other people that need to be looked after.
Yeah, this is true. Hey, Kit. How you doing, mate? I can't stop looking at Scott's comment. First event in my pants confirmed. That's just
It's not confirmed.
It's just of all of the things, that's what's sticking with me. So there are times where roleplay can quickly escalate or start to broach on sensitive topics. Do you have a phrase or gesture players can make to let the other person know that the roleplay is becoming too intense or going in a direction they are OC not comfortable with?
Yeah, so I'm
a
going
good
to
one.
talk with Persephone as we do about this, but I'm pretty sure we talked about that recently, haven't we? And
Yeah.
we're thinking about implementing that, but the exact wording and things I don't think we have released yet. Um,
No.
but yeah, they've been really effective. Am I right in that, Persephone? We have
I
talked
think
about
so,
it, haven't
yeah.
we?
'Cause we had a big chat about a lot of stuff around this area in meeting earlier in the week, and that was one of the topics that came up. I think we weren't 100% sure what sort of gesture or phrase or something like that we wanted to go with at the time, but it is a topic that we are thinking about and like aware of. So coming soon, TM, I guess is the answer.
I mean, as
Yeah,
long as I suppose as long as it's being talked about and it's there, it's in the process, then that's what matters. What matters, isn't it?
yeah,
At the end of the day.
it's being deeply thought about and discussed and considered. Again, this isn't a it's just been deeply thought about and considered, and I think it's likely that is going to be implemented in one way or another, if it's either hand gestures or verbal or both.
Strip down to your pants.
No, stop going down to the pants. Go on, Steve. Focus. Next question.
No. um, so, can you explain the questioning rule in more detail? Is it literally that each player can't be asked a question more than 3 times in their entire play life, or is it one day, one event, or similar?
So the question rule isn't really designed for other players. It's actually designed to be used against NPCs. For example, you take an enemy from the battlefield and you want to go, where's the enemy forces camped? Or whatever. Like, who are you? What's going on? Who's your boss? It's so that we can get that NPC back because we want them back. So you only have a limited time of stealing someone or holding someone essentially kind of like hostage to questions.
Yeah.
So you can like crack on with the rest of the game. Um, and the same for a player. Like a player, if that does happen to a player, which is not the focus of this thing, if it is, that'll be a ref with them, because the chances are, if someone is questioned, it's likely because the Court of Daggers is after them because they've done a crime
Yeah.
and or suspect of a crime. At which point, in a short period of time, they can go, "Did you do it? No," and more questions of "Did you do it in different ways?" And they keep going, "No, I definitely did not do this thing. I did not kill X." They're like, "Okay, cool," and they can crack on with the game. Like we don't want to be holding people, or we don't want other players holding crew or other players for long periods of time because that's not fun.
No.
They just want to go, "Did you murder this person? No, I did not. Brilliant. Sorry about that. Crack on and enjoy the rest of your event." Because you don't want to be held down for like hours, stuck in a room, waiting to be judged on something. Like we want people to get on with their game, have fun, find the answers, get on with stuff.
Yeah. That's good. Brodema said safety mechanics are big and clever. Going back to the previous question.
Yeah.
So, will there be specific classes for the nations, or will there be specific names? For example, a cleric from Portavis being named differently from another nation, but mechanically acting the same.
Persephone, do you want this one?
Yeah, I think I've got this. So we don't have like there's no like class system in sort of the sort of stereotypical D&D variety. There is
Okay.
a few archetypes that have been written up. Mostly that's been as part of the kit brief to sort of identify how they're currently visually different from other people. But they also have slightly different sort of ways of going about things and slightly different importances to the nation based on what they do. I pretty sure they're not mandatory. They shouldn't be.
They're not.
But they're just they're another way that you can sort of focus your character a little bit more and get a bit more of a viewpoint in the game to inform what you want to do and why you want to do things.
Perfect. Lovely. So this is a ref question. There appears to be a lot of systems and rules which are heavily ref dependent. How many refs are you expecting to have, and how do you anticipate being able to manage this at scale?
Yeah, so it is designed for scaling. This is always designed made for lots, and it's really interesting. People coming from a particular background that thinks this is actually quite high rules heavy, or like ref dependent, but it actually isn't at all. There's other systems that do a lot more than what we're doing on high scales without a problem. Obviously, everything then adapts and changes over time. Every system has adapted to scaling, and we're probably going to be the same. But it is designed with large scale.
Yeah.
So we have lots of posts. That's why everything is in the city center. It's because there's a lot of places that you can definitely get a dedicated ref in that area to that particular thing that you want to do if you go there. But also, every nation is going to have our nation support, and every nation support staff will have a radio. Most will have access to a radio to go into a set of like game control, which is outside of the game. It's literally just a person whose entire job it is be on the other side of the radio and answer questions and kind of ferry information around from other areas to help out if the referee or the nation support doesn't know the answer, or to process things. But all the processing systems are actually done in a really simple and easy to manage way. For example, most of the things that you do, we don't need any information about your character to do them. Like, as long as you can prove the fact of you can do the thing that you're saying you're doing, brilliant, and we've done it. There's not that much that we actually need to track, apart from the fact of you did the thing and it gets put up into game control and it's then written down. Ritual's a big part of that. Weaving, sorry. So that's going to be a big part where you can do something completely custom. You performed it, that effect happens in the world, and now it's going back into everything else. Enchanting and apothecary has specific stations, and tables, enchanting apothecary tables for everyone to do that there. Where dedicated refs are there waiting for it. And then our nation support, we're thinking it's going to be about 4 or 5 people per nation, and then they then run their player ref team, which is then under them per nation as well. So we're going to have quite a lot of refs in the game, and in every single nation, and then that city center is filled with like the guild reps also doing that. So I think it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no worries that we're going to handle it absolutely fine. Which I know is a big stress. A lot of people are going, well, how are you going to do this? It's like, we've written the system. It works perfectly fine in other places. We've made some tweaks. I think it's even easier now. It's easier for the player base, and it's easier on our referees and our amazing volunteers. So yeah, it's not something I'm concerned with.
No, that's good. So this is an interesting one. It's probably been quite interesting to all the players watching. How lethal is this system intended to be, as there are a large number of instant death count and instant terminal calls proportionally to the number of calls in general?
Do you want me to have this one, Persephone, or do you want it?
I think this one's on you.
Yeah. I think one of the main ones that people are really scared of is that we put in the rules obliterate. It instantly kills you. And that's incredibly rare, and it's actually something that the player base is more likely to have than anyone else. And also, obliterate, or essentially the same thing, is in every single game that I've ever been to, but they don't put a name to it.
Yeah.
A ref just comes over and goes, "You're dead," and you go, "Oh," and then you just, but like we've just given that a name, because there's a lot of things that we put in the game that we just named instead of just go, a ref tells you something. So just to make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
But how obliterate would work, because obviously then people are then worried if players can get hold of obliterate, will they just kill my character? The answer is no. When you do an obliterate, you have so you do, for example, a great weaving to put obliterate on a sword. It must then be is only on that sword and can be wielded by that sword, but it can only go against the named person for that ability to work on. So, for example, there's the big, angry, evil, corrupted general that you want to destroy because he's incredibly hardcore. You just go, right, I named that guy. So you need to know his name, do a weaving with that, put the blade onto the blade. It's for that person, and you can only use it on that particular named NPC. So you can't use that on a player character.
No.
Unless it's particularly named a part of the weaving, and that's not likely to go down unless there's in-character reasons for that to be all okayed and checked in by of the players in question.
So you're not going to just have a random player cannot just go get this done, put on that person over there because I don't like them, and then just wander over, kill them instantly, and wander off just because it's I did it for the lols.
No. Okay. So all in-game, all kind of like assaults and things. This is something that's will be coming out soon, which is essentially the Court of Daggers Guild. That's sort of like our Law and Order, as well as absolutely not Law and Order guild. It's going to be a lot of fun for people. And that's where it's going to be essentially where we want all of our PvP enthusiastic players to go. Because it's designed to make sure that everyone is accepting that PvP before it is then done in the game. And for example, if I wanted to PvP Persephone, I'd have to go to the Court of Daggers to do that, and I'd have to go to the exchange, pay the price, whatever it is I have to do that. At which point, another player who's not me, will be paid who's part of the member of the guild of the Court of Daggers, will be paid to send a letter to Persephone to go, you are going to be assaulted for the alleged crimes of this. Persephone owes me 20 legends, which is part of our coinage. And pay me back or this is going to happen. And there'll be like a time period for that to occur. Now, Persephone could either walk there and go, I'm not happy with this as a player, and I'd like it to stop. I think this is Nick bullying me, and I don't want it to happen. Because I think there's like an OC thing going on, or whatever it is, and instantly that guild will stop it.
Okay.
And everything will be locked. If Persephone is fine with me sending hired thugs to assault Persephone, then Persephone go, yeah, cool, whatever. If then also like Persephone is feeling really unwell and can't walk for whatever reason, she can just inform a referee, and a referee can radio it into the Court of Daggers Guild, who also have a radio, of like, don't allow this to go out. At which point, that's not going to put up on essentially like the bounty board, and it's just cleared, and that's not going to happen.
Okay.
So it's designed to stop PvP from happening. And if you do it without the Court of Daggers, essentially everyone on the Court of Daggers is going to go out and deck you, and your character's not going to survive. So it's just a really silly thing to do, especially if you have the truth system involved in the game. It's just not really something you want in the game. There's ways of you doing it, which is mostly against NPCs. If you need to do it against a player, there's a way to do that, which makes sure that everyone is accepting of being happy to go along with it.
Right.
And not, it doesn't happen. So it's quite simple, and it's all processed through that guild.
The majority of the Court of Daggers plot is going to be PvE. We're not aiming for it to be a PvP. Like, we're not aiming for it to be the PvP guild. But yeah, if there is an element of it that's going to happen, it in theory should be nice and controlled, and done in a way that we can stop people doing that.
Yeah. So I have questions about this.
Yeah.
Because as someone who has murdered a lot of player characters in my life, I do get quite heavily involved in PvP. How, and I'm aware of, I will hasten to add, everyone I have murdered was well aware it was coming. So there's never been any issue like that. How are you going to stop players? So let's say, Nick goes to the Court of Daggers, say, I want you to do this against Persephone. Persephone has done stuff against you, and this is your retribution. But Persephone turns around and says, no, this is bullying, I don't want it to happen. Even though it is actual in-game stuff, but they're constantly saying, where a lot of people are going to do stuff against Persephone, but Persephone says against Nick, against, let's go through chat, Monty, Niflheim, Porcupine, and Bethany, against all of them to stop any retribution like that. So it becomes a constant thing of they're doing bad stuff, but they just don't want any consequences for their actions.
Yeah, well, that's where we then go right, because we're up, we're putting that into a sort of a very quick database of notes. Essentially, those NPCs are going to be consistent in the Court of Daggers, so they know sort of what's going on the kind of the political landscape of the game, and they're aware that Persephone is constantly, sorry to be the target, Persephone, but constantly being in character, mean to a lot of people. At which point we're we want to do something back, and Persephone saying it's bullying. At which point we get hold of either a nation support person or that guild to have a nice chat with Persephone and go, hi Persephone, this is like this bullying. We just want to talk to you about PvP, the type of game that you're doing, and just have a really nice friendly chat about, if you continue to do this as your character, this is the sort of reaction you're going to get from people. And it's like a variety of different people who want to try and get back at you. So this is the game that you are currently playing. People are going to try and hit back. If you're not comfortable with that, then I think you might want to change the direction that your character's going in right now. Just have a really nice, friendly conversation about it. Like, we're not here to tell anyone off, unless they need telling off for proper reasons. But sometimes that's just not a realization. Could be a brand new player who just isn't aware or has some sort of spiciness about them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just needs to have a really nice just chat and conversation. And sometimes it's just someone being a dick. But you don't know until you have that conversation, have it really nice, have it kind of laid down for you. And then they know, right? Because the game's informing them and it's being done in a nice way.
Yeah.
If other things happen after that, then essentially that then escalates. But first of all, it's just sometimes it's just having a chat with people and just making sure that they realize the sort of game that they're playing and the reactions it's going to have with other people.
Yeah.
Some people are new to this.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's good. That is very, very good. So next question. I don't know what question number we're on at the moment. I think this is 13. 59 minutes. We've done 13 questions. It's fine. That's fine. We've got 45 more to go in half an hour. We could do this. I've seen a lot of the questions at the end that a lot of them are one-line questions. So I think we'll have a speed run towards the end. The nation pages mention paladins frequently, but the faith skill barely mentions them. What is the expectation of the difference between a cleric and a paladin skills-wise?
That is for literally just making people realise this is sort of the style of game we're going for. It's like kind of high fantasy D&D style, kind of like fun. So paladin is something that means that you can play a fighty person of faith, right? Like, you can be in full plate armor, you can have the big 2 giant great sword, you can put smites on your sword and go to town with that. If that's the sort of game you want, brilliant, this is a game for you. Do that. You're a paladin. If you want to play a cleric, you're more about kind of using your faith to heal other people on the battlefield and defend people having a bad time, then that's also for you. Also, going and doing the big ceremonies and talking to your god, that's probably more a cleric idea. Is this kind of phrases used to try and help people spark their imagination more than saying this is a particular archetype or a type of character?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is very exciting because, well, you know firsthand how excited I am about my. Well, I'm purely going religion, which I know has shocked a lot of people that there will be zero combat in my character.
We'll see how long that lasts.
It's gonna last. It's gonna last because I'm exploring a new sort of game. So
Yeah,
that's
but I
what
think
that's what I want to do. That's
yeah,
what I want to do. And also, I really want to get to a point in doing this sort of game where you come wandering down and go, Steve, what the fuck, man? that's
it'll be
goals.
after the game. I will be taking you to the pub and going, what the fuck are you doing?
Literal goals right there.
Like, please, yeah, just to annoy me. I know you love, but no, it's a brand new game, and it's a great new chance for a lot of people to do brand new things. Explore more areas of themselves. Challenge themselves a bit differently, go for a different look. I think it's a great opportunity for people to try new things and have a bit of a laugh. And we've got quite a few new, like different systems. I think that people are usually not used to as well. So there's a lot to explore.
Yeah. Monty says, battle priest, yay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good. So we'll go for this one for Persephone. Is or will there be guidelines and black white lists for practical effects for weaving magic? I'm specifically wondering about controlled smoke and minor pyro effects.
Oh, that's a good one. So I think with weaving, it's very much more likely we're going to be controlling and providing any effects that we want to provide on that. We do have a plan for a really cool setup for our weaving stage, where people will be able to get really cool special effects going. I don't know if we'll be allowing players to provide those, partly for safety reasons, partly for it allows us to control sort of what is happening in response to people doing stuff. So yeah, we're planning to have a really cool special effects team as well for when people are doing weavings and things on the battlefield, away from like the menhir.
Just a little tidbit of information for you, Steve. It comes to a special effects team. Is the person or team that we've got a part of that? They were part of the original Aliens movies and only got into bigger movies from there.
Oh my god! Why are you telling me that now? I need. Oh.
Yeah, they were literally there working when the first chest burster scene happened. And
the special effects team we've got, they're really cool.
They're incredible.
And yeah, so I think it's going to be mostly provided by Menhirs Fate in terms of special effects. But yeah, we'll review that sort of stuff and see what we're happy to allow players in certain areas. I imagine it possibly, if we do allow that sort of stuff, it will be more restricted on the battlefield than it is potentially in like Haven. But yeah, it's something that we're definitely going to take into account and look at.
Yeah. Chances are most of it's probably going to be about insurance, to be completely honest, in a really boring way. It's like, will our insurance cover having a player come in with their own pyro and go, I swear I bought this safely off the internet, and they've secretly made it at home. They go to light their smoke and it blows up in their hand. Like, well, does my insurance cover that? I'm not too sure it does. So it's just, we got to... And no, there's so many people in the LARP space that are amazing and really safe with pyros, but the unfortunate part of reality is that there's always going to be an idiot that brings that down, who think they know what they're doing, which kind of sort of spoils it for everyone else. But if our insurance covers it, then awesome, yay! But it's something we have to have a double look over, because we're doing a lot of safety stuff. There's a load of red tape and loads of policies and things, like a ridiculous amount of policies. So we'll just check on that and come back with a confirmed order, like a confirmed answer. But we can't say for sure right now. But because our special effects are so good, like it's so good with the team that we have, it won't be. I don't think it'll be necessary.
So I don't care what we're talking about now. I need to meet these people. Jesus. Yeah, let's talk about aliens now, because that's
No question. Limited time. 25 minutes now. Come on.
that is so cool. That is so cool. So this is from someone who I know who wrote it, and will remain nameless. I'm trying to convince my friend who is watching the stream with me to play Menhirs. She's never LARPed before, but enjoys fantasy as a genre. Please sell it to her.
Oh, I'll try first and have the second.
I'll give you both a two-lined sales pitch.
2 lines?
2 lines. Yeah, this is... Yeah. You only got 25 minutes left. I want to watch Aliens now.
Have you played a... It's a field of your best friends that have the same interest as you that you've never met yet.
Sorry, say that again.
It's a field full of your best friends you've never met yet. They have the same interests as you, and this is your chance to go and meet them.
That's really good.
What am I going to go with?
Yes, elevator pitch. Go.
I think it's a brand new fantasy world that you'll get to experience and live in. And there's so much to jump into and enjoy. So, enjoy it from the start.
Yeah.
Mine's more generic. Mine's just LARP in general. Just do LARP. It's incredible.
I think...
Like, we can talk about it. We'll fluff about ourselves. We love talking about our own adventures and our own particular things, but that's not actually the interesting thing about LARP. Is you going on your own adventures. It's the friends you make along the way, as corny as that sounds, the people you meet, and the situations you put yourself in, and the things you find out about yourself. Like, you find out so much more about yourself and what you're capable of, and boost your confidence so much from doing LARP than I've seen in anything else. Like, it's incredible to LARP, no matter what game it is.
I mean, there's a lot of wonderful communities out there, and we're looking to build like another one of those, another place where people can have all these cool adventures and meet new friends and all of that sort of stuff. The same as a load of other people have provided that in other places for years. We're wanting to do that exact same thing for a load of other people.
Yeah. Monty says, yep, you find out more in an hour of play than a whole week of conversation. It's it's like I say all along, it's all about the stories.
Yeah.
It's all about the stories. I love to hear the stories. I want to hear the stories. So, next question. Do you have a rough idea of how many nation NPCs you're aiming for? Is it going to be player number dependent or thematic, like 5 for Hammerstadt or for the 5 for Cyrodonia?
So I think it's going to be 5 is what we're aiming for, but we're happy with lesser numbers with nations that don't have as many players in. We've got to move things around and stuff like that. We'll always make sure that like the 5 that what we want is what we're aiming for is with the bigger nations, and if we end up having to do 3 or 4 in other nations, then we'll do that. But just to try and make sure that we're not like we talked about before, giving them too much work to do for one particular nation if it's massive and there's only 3 people there. We want to try and make sure that all of our player support, all of our volunteers are having a great time. But on top of player support, they've also got player refs in each one of those nations as well. So once again, kind of ease that burden. So when people actually have breaks and have fun as their characters, they're not constantly on the go working all the time.
Yeah, that's good. So there's a lot of positivity in chat at the moment. So I'm positively fizzing with excitement, says Ryan. Additionally, other hobbies feed rather well into LARP, crafting, playing instruments, etc.
Yep.
Digby says, I cannot wait for Menhirs Fate. Very excited. Portavan Supremacy, by the way. Best not pirate nation. So, I love all the nations, but haven't planned a character yet while considering crew. I've also completed on a house today, so you're my relaxation for the evenings while I put my life into boxes. That is awesome news.
Lovely, well done.
Well done. I'll even. Well done, Dingleberry. That's amazing news, man. I'm so happy for you. That's one less stress for you now. It moves so fast. Well, put weights in it, then the boxes won't move so fast. Okay. Right. Next question. Are the trader stalls going to be in the IC or OC? Are the trader stalls going to be in the IC or OC areas? Will there be in-game currency for any players that set up stalls as part of their character and nation?
So I'll answer the IC currency bit. Persephone will talk about the place where all the traders are. If you're happy with that, Persephone?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we've got currency. I'm really excited for it. So it's actually being designed by a very talented friend of mine, James Lamb, who's doing our art or have done our art for the coins. He's just kind of finishing it off, Z-sculpting them now, so they can be put into manufacture. So we're going to have sagas, myths, and legends as our coinage, which will be in denominations of 20.
Okay.
So 20 sagas to a myth. Make sure I get it right, and 20 sagas to 20 myths to a legend. There we go. I did mess that up, but yeah, they are beautiful. Like, my main concern is that James has done too much of a good job, and that people are going to take them home to frame them in a plaque above their wall. Like, they are so pretty. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. So that's me. So excited about the coins that we have because they look so good. And yeah, I'm off to Persephone now, so I can just stop fluffing about it.
So for our for the trader space for various LARP traders, the way we've designed our the way we've designed like our IC field, there's going to be a place specifically for all of our LARP traders. Basically, that's so that we can provide them with the stuff that they need, and it's all in one area. That's going to be between the OC and IC field. It will mean that everyone can go through there and have a look at all that stuff. The traders will all be in one location, so it means that we definitely aren't going to deploy like a camp attack on them or any of that stuff. It's going to be really easy. It's going to be really easy to find them. They are going to be like slightly walled off, but it's not going to be huge or anything like that. It's mostly just so that I think it's also going to be where our food vendors are. So it's mostly just to kind of hide some bits of things, some other bits of things, but it's going to be very easy to get to. It's going to be in the actual IC field itself. At some point, I think we're going to release a camp plan for people to see before the event, but it'll just take we're still nailing stuff down on that. Okay. The current plan is that there will be a traders venue within the IC field, and then a bunch of other. If people want to like do little stalls and stuff within the camps and trade for like the IC coins, they absolutely can. I think it's a really good way of making the world come alive when that sort of thing happens.
Okay. Alto Fox has asked a really good question. Will we have to hand in our in-game money back to the bank at the end of the event, or can we take the coins home like at Empire?
I'm happy you asked because we're doing something very, I think, fun and silly with that. So yeah, you can take it home. However, we would might prefer to have those coins back, just so we can keep track a little bit better of how many coins we have, and also because we do give out coins and do payments IC in the game, separate from the amount that you'll get from your your background and the resource. Okay. So it's just so we can keep a little better track of how much we need to order in, and how much we have. However, to incentivize players into doing that, you can put your money and resources back into the game at the end of the event, no matter how much that is, and by doing so, you'll be entered into the lottery. So instead of everyone getting interests individually, everyone who puts their resources in at the end of the game, or keeps them in during the game, they will be entered into the lottery that kind of gets everyone's compound interest, which will either be rewarded to one player or multiple players at random. This will then be rewarded in character, where they'll be given a giant novelty check, surrounded by a bunch of guards from the Court of Daggers, who will come in and celebrate to you with your giant novelty check of, like, say, 100 legends, and pass it to you. Your name is not written on it, and now it's up to you to now work out how to get this novelty check safely to the bank without feeling the panic of life coming at you.
Okay.
So it's just a bit of fun for people to get hold of, and silliness. If people aren't up for it, the Court of Daggers will be represented by obviously like an NPC who's in charge of that particular thing. If they don't want to be the person who has to deal with this, that's perfectly fine. They'll pass it on to someone else.
Okay.
But it's to kind of also stir up the economics. So it's not always the person running the bar that has all the money. It can just be because someone got lucky.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's go for a very, very quick answer to this one. Is the Court of Daggers the Assassin's Guild?
PvE sort of, yes. Also kind of like law system as well.
Yeah.
It's a gentleman assassins. Think very Terry Pratchett.
Cool.
There's a lot more to it. It sounds worse than it is. Wait until the information comes out in the guilds, and I'll explain a lot more.
Wonderful. How much money do characters start with? Do you choose a resource?
So that is still being slightly worked upon at the moment, because we're trying to engage how many people we think are coming, and then there's loads of. We have our economic people on that, and they're going to come up with the best answer. I am not one of the economics people. We'll get around to it.
Okay. There's a question there about health issues as well. So what about people who cannot fight due to health issues who win the lottery?
No problem. You tell the Court of Daggers person who's handed you the lottery ticket, and him and his group will put it in on your behalf into the bank.
Wonderful. Perfect. Okay. So 12 minutes left. I'm going to go question for Persephone, next question for Nick, and we'll go for very quick answers. I'm actually sitting up for this. Are we ready? Are we ready for this? Excellent. Thank you. So, are the briefs we have now pre or post demonic apocalypse? If the latter, what is the situation in our homelands? Are we scattered refugees here, Nick?
Some of the players can choose to be scattered refugees. Yes, some of the players will just be happily living in their area, maybe engaging over the war, or have not been involved in it at all. It's completely down to your character and player choice. How involved you've been in the war, or if you've lived somewhere else and you've now a refugee from it.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So Persephone, how common will it be to get extra faith? Should clerics be expecting to use their skills sparingly due to the small number of faith tokens available?
Depends how good you are at persuading other people to give you their faith tokens. I think us seeding faith through other means as well is something that can happen. So it's going to depend on partly how lucky you are on going on the right things, and partly how good you are at persuading other people to give you them, because people who have no faith abilities still get faith. So it's going to be a constantly replenishing resource each event.
Okay, that's good. So this one's not really a question. It's more of a statement for Nick. So I'll give Nick the question after that as well. So 50 years is a long war. So nearly all the PCs would not have been born when the corruption started. Not much of a question, I'll grant you. Sorry.
Yeah, so we wanted to kind of keep up the hold of mystery of what's going on. Like I said, this is a very much a game about exploration and discovery and trying to work out what's happened to your history and what's happened before. And there's multiple different ways that we've gone in through that to try and make that a consistent part of the game. So there's a lot more to do in the game that isn't just fighting. A lot of it is exploration, discovery, getting to know what's going on. It's very likely that you or one of your friends is going to be one of the people that come up with some of a major part of lore that changes the game and has a huge impact because there's so much out there to find out and discover, or putting pieces together and working out what's going on.
Plus,
And
that
we've also got some
memory box.
crazy writers that have such an in-depth look at the game that there's multiple areas that you can put stuff into and actually discover secrets of Haven itself that we don't think will be worked out for like years. But we'll see what the players come to.
So what did you say there, Persephone?
There's also the dastardly memory fog that means that even the stuff that players necessarily might think is like stuff that things you do know might not be things that are real. It gives us an element of pivoting and also explains a little bit why a bunch of people who live in this world definitely all year round don't know some basic things about the place that they live.
Yeah. So Q Priest knocking on your tent door, wanting to talk about their Lord and Saviour, the Reaper, for your faith tokens. Have you seen my character I did, Bonham? If someone doesn't do a full Voldemort from now, you place your faith in me. I'll be disappointed in you all. And Smithy says 100 years war existed and no one had a clue what was going on. So yeah, lots of good stuff there. Okay, so we'll go to a proper question. I say a proper question. That was rude of me. We'll go for a proper question. Nick, how long can people expect to wait for a response when attempting to contact the Menhirs Fate team? How do we know if any emails sent have been received?
So we at the moment it's mostly myself and I think sometimes Persephone and a few others are on the messenger for Facebook. Also, only a few directors on the emails. We are trying to get ourselves to try and answer things as quickly as possible. But we are soon recruiting more moderators and more people that can do our email system.
All I can hear is someone's Discord beeping.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear it. But yeah. So we are trying our best. We're trying to be as quick as possible. All I can say is bear with us. We're trying our best.
Yeah.
But we are looking to improve that really soon.
Cool. So next question then for Persephone. It seems like the nations are run by NPCs. How senior can a player be? How much power will we have over the fate decisions of our nations?
So broadly, in terms of like the actual governments of the nations, they aren't in the player base and aren't in the mix for making those decisions. They're off like administrating the day-to-day business of those various nations. What they're asking the players to do is be the heroes and save the world. So it's not necessarily that you'll be able to climb the ladder of a government and become responsible for things in that way. But you will be able to have a big impact on how those nations are developing within the world and how they are trying to figure out how to navigate this massive calamity.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, the governments aren't doing much right now. Most of them are dead, gone, or corrupted. So it's mostly just these small territories left. So there's not actually a government left who's telling you what to do. It's literally down to you, the heroes, to come in and save everything, bring it back, and then rebuild society. How that gets done will be down to the players.
Okay. Excellent.
Right. Yeah.
Can you give us This is Nick now, isn't it? Can you give us an idea of the camp layout? Will you expect people will run in-game establishments to gain resources in the nation camps?
Yeah, no, absolutely would love to see that. I think it really drives the economics. It makes the world feel real. I can't wait to see people with their taverns, their shops, their apothecary shops where they can sell all the different types of amazing magical and consumables that people are going to be coming up with. The enchanter shops or kind of like trade unions, newspapers, uh, magazines. There's so many amazing things that people do in the game. Bard guilds. There's so many amazing things that can use this in-character economics. I can't wait to see them come to life. Also, temples and churches of particular religions. Where they can come in and do their big sermon about their god. Like, there's so much that the players can do, and there'll be so many things that I can't even imagine, and I'll see it and be like, it's incredible. But yeah, no, we want that, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, next one, Persephone. Are there any other ways to gain corruption or be corrupted? It seems unlikely that crops and livestock were casting too many rituals.
Yes, and that's probably all you're going to get at this point.
Ooh.
There is specifically a call, I believe, called Infernal that increases corruption. There is things that can corrupt you. There is ways to get it either like from it being inflicted on you or from you able to like choose to take corruption, similar to the rights system where you can gain corruption levels by tempting fate.
A question from Sir Beagles. Will things like power be available for folks with access needs, or potentially for some player-run trading establishments?
Was that for me, sorry, or Persephone?
That's for Nick.
Sorry, I was reading this the stuff on the side. Sorry, but yeah. So power will be available in certain areas for people that need it, who have the need for it. Being like wheelchair recharging, things like that. That will be available in the OC area where we have a dedicated essentially generator for that, to make sure that that can be done. However, what we can't do is put wires in for people to have electricity in the in-character field. Like, it's incredibly expensive to do it properly, which means that when you're putting through electricity cables in a field on a site, it needs to be covered by plastic. It needs to be signed off by a electrician.
Yeah.
For every bit of cabling to make sure that the plastic covering is in, or the cable's dug into the ground and covered. Like, you can't have a electricity cable just on the ground, and it has to be signed off by an electrician. So we can't. It's so expensive to do that. We just can't afford to give electricity to someone who wants to do a tavern, for example.
Okay.
What we can do is make sure that people who do need that electricity have a dedicated space to get that and have it accessible by their tent in that area.
Excellent. They say totally understandable. Thanks for the clarification and reasoning. So that's good. So for Persephone, with Crush being an icy call, what's the call or method being used to prevent trampling or crushed in crowded combat?
I think that's going to be something for our battle ref team to communicate. We're going to have them in a specific outfit, I believe, so that they're going to be very, very recognizable. We'll be briefing both people in terms of we're briefing people on the battle rules when we can as well. We're also going to have potentially people from nation support and player refs are going to be embedded with the players, and they can go out on certain combats and things. So there'll be more people hopefully on both sides of things, able to kind of prevent those things from happening. When they do, we're going to have really well trained battle refs who will be able to mitigate it.
Excellent. That's a good answer.
Yeah, continuing from that, apart from the combats aren't going to be, for example, like Empire size. Our combats are going to be smaller. So it has a lesser chance of crush just happening anyway because it's not very large numbers, very impressive and cool numbers of people fighting together. But we're going for something different.
Okay.
Our games and how we want to do our battles, which is more often but smaller.
Okay.
And I'm very lucky that the person who also runs and manages a lot of these kind of like the safety aspect of games is my partner, and they're running, writing a lot of the safety things and making sure that's getting done well in a professional manner for Menhirs Fate.
Excellent. So, okay, so hopefully a quick and easy question, because I just noticed we've gone over the half past. So I've got a few questions, so let's get it really, really even quicker now. Hopefully quick and easy question. Will we be getting a more detailed brief for each of the gods, and is there a time frame for this? Persephone.
We are intending to write more information on the gods. There is not a time frame for it at this point.
Wonderful. Digby, is this a quick question? As an this is a Nick question, definitely. I saw Mage in there. As an aspiring mage, I am debating how many mage points I spend on various things. Am I going to need to spec into both Weaver and Mage to do the battlefield rights, like striking people with lightning, or is it only Mage needed? If you're fleshing this out, I can absolutely wait.
No, so if you want to be a Weaver, that's separate from being a Mage. As far as it is. So the reason why that is separate and different, a lot of people will assume that because you have to do, because in other systems you have to take Mage before doing something else. If you want to be a Weaver, that's a separate thing, and you can specialize in that. If it's part of the thing you want to do, you can take that and join other Weavers of the same sphere as you to do that on the battlefield. However, most of the time, if you want to be combat effective by yourself as an individual, I take some of the mage skills and the spells and focus points there to be able to throw out loads of spells. The weaving stuff is cool, and you can do both, but it depends on what you want to do. Really, if you want to just be consistent by yourself and not need a team, do more of the mage specific stuff. If you want to do the weaving, which has also access to all the ritual stuff as well, do that, or you can do a mix of both. But it depends on what you want. But battlefield effectiveness by yourself, mage, as a team, and to do the rituals as your focus, weaver.
Okay, excellent. I think that answers my question. I will have a think. So, 3 questions left. That is it. That's all we've got time for. We're done. So, two of them are sensible. One of them is really not. And I wanted to finish on a really not sensible question, but I want to get Persephone to answer the really not sensible question.
Of course.
Because it's about Nick. So, Sir Beagles, quick question for the road. Which are your favourite nations? Persephone, you can't pick the nation you wrote.
Which one am I really keen to see? I'm actually really keen to see Avaro. They've got a really, really cool aesthetic with like the adventuring parties. The way that they interact with the campaign is really funny, and I'm quite keen to finish putting that together so that we can unveil it. And yeah, it's just a really cute nation with cool like adventuring party aesthetics. Like when we did the photo shoot with them, like I love their little adventuring party. I would die for them. They were great.
Cool. Nick, favourite nation?
Oh, favourite nation? It keeps changing, actually. I think I also in love with Avaru, just how absolutely lovely it is. But then I also like the other end of the scale with Morvalis, and I also think what they've done with Hammerstadt is incredible. So yeah, I can't choose. There's no Urjavan. No, yeah. See, it was going to change every 2 seconds. I would tell you a different one that I love. but
Brilliant.
I think about it more. But yeah, no, I love them all, and I can't choose.
Excellent. So, second question, we'll go for both. Is Haven our permanent home as characters, at least at Game Start, or do we travel there each season like at Anvil? Ooh.
There's everyone. So, do you travel there each time? Yes. More. However, if I say any more than that, it'll take away some of the stuff that's actually about the plot in the game that will be released
We'll
later.
leave it there then. We'll leave that there. Okay. Last question. Oh, you'll both... Well, Nick will definitely 100% know who wrote this question. Is the rumour that Nick is going to have sexy time with everyone who signs up for crew if they want it to?
It's not on the crew form. It's not something that we're recruiting for. It's not planned as a benefit of Menhirs Fate.
Any guesses at who wrote that question?
Is it Dolly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course it was Dolly. That was wonderful.
I'm also surprised I got who that was. But no. Also, my partner will
Even Digby guessed it.
fascinate me. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes, she
Dolly.
will. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, she will. So, by my last count, the reason I added those three on at the end was to get to an even, well, not to an even number, but a nicer number. We got 35 questions done.
Not bad.
Quite happy with that. Hello, Esme. Congratulations. So, maybe a part 2. Who knows? We'll probably wait until a lot more stuff comes out, and they are a lot less, under the cosh worked as you are at the moment.
Yeah, it's just everything else in life happening as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dolly, we do not consent to this scene. Yeah. But that was really, really good. I think there was a lot of very good questions in there, and a lot of good answers as well. So, considering neither of you prepped, which is how I like it.
Yeah. In my defense, I just come from the hospital. I'm fine. I was looking after a friend.
Yes.
But I've got excuses, and I'll keep coming up with new ones.
It was the great answers, really, really good answers. I hope everyone in chat feels like they've picked up something from this and they've learnt something from it, because it's I need more lore, but great stream. Persephone never preps for anything. Okay. Wonderful stuff. So that was really, really good. I will probably edit this video down so people can just see the questions and then get the answers from it as well, rather than all the other bits in between.
Yeah, just cut out the bits where I talk.
No. So, but yeah, that was really, really good fun. Thank you both for coming on.
All right, thanks very much. Thanks very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It was really good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Chat says thank you, so that's good. Right, we'll go and raid someone. It's the weekend. We'll go and give them some love. Let's see if anyone who I'm following is on. Oh, we're gonna go and Colton Crawford, the banjo player from the Dead South, lovely guy. Go and give him some love, and have a great weekend, everyone. Let's start the raid. Yeah, other things happen. We've now got a fill for 7 seconds.
Oh, cool. Yes, yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much for listening in. Thank you also, Persephone, for listening to me waffle and getting eventually some questions in when I stop talking.
Wonderful stuff.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Have a good weekend, all. Much love.